Alright dudes, we just got a huge update for Dead Rails featuring a ton of new classes and even a sort of progression system, which I definitely have to tackle at some point. However, for today we're going to be doing yet another Dead Rails tier list video since you guys really seem to like the last one that I did, and a handful of you guys want to see an updated class guide. So we're going to knock out two birds with one stone and just do all of the classes in one video as a tier list. However, if you do still end up wanting to see a much more in-depth guide on each of the classes, definitely let me know in the comment section below, and I may make a video on that at some point. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Of course, after you hit that subscribe button, because we have a ton of great videos coming out and you get to keep up to date with all of the latest updates from Dead Rails. And with that said, let's get right into the video. High Roller is a very interesting class and the first one that we're going to be covering today. This class costs 50 bonds, letting you seemingly double the money that you get from selling items, however at the cost of making it 10 times more likely that you get struck by lightning. So lightning storm, nighttime event things are absolutely deadly for this class. I honestly could see this being super useful on a team where everybody can just give you the expensive items, you can sell them, use that double money to buy everything for your team super easily, and just maximize the amount of money you get overall. Honestly, as long as you're careful, this could even be a pretty good class to play on solo, and I really just like the idea of the class overall. Super high risk for a pretty decent reward. Pretty great A tier in my opinion. Hey, editor Steven here. It's not like me to go ahead and just change a rating in the middle of editing a video, but overnight I've had a bit of an epiphany reading all your guys' comments, and I think that High Roller is probably an S tier class, so yeah, that'll be in the final bit. The Survivalist. This class has a really simple concept. The lower your health is, the more damage you do. And I think it's super useful if you're somebody who takes a lot of damage and is really bad at avoiding enemies, like myself. If that's you, then this is a solid class to play. You also get to start out with a tomahawk as opposed to the normal shovel, so I think that's pretty cool. It definitely is a bit on the higher end of the price scale, costing 75 freaking bonds. Altogether, I think it's a pretty good class. For me, it's a little bit too expensive, but because of the use case for it, I really can't give it anything less than an S tier. Ironclad has been in the game for a couple of weeks now, and it is one of the most popular classes, and I would agree that it is an amazing class given that you get a full set of armor for maximum damage reduction, literally right off the bat, with one very unfortunate downside: 20% decrease in movement speed. It might not sound like a crazy amount, but I'm telling you, as soon as you spawn in, you'll notice the difference. However, it really only slows you down early game though, because as soon as you get kind of going, you get a horse, you get your train moving and everything. Obviously, it speeds up the gameplay back to its normal kind of pace. The main thing is this literally saves you hundreds of dollars over the course of your game, since you don't have to buy armor and you can put that money towards other stuff. This class is less high risk, high reward, and more like high benefit but for a high price, and not just with the movement speed decrease, which itself is a pretty high price to pay. It literally has a high price of 100 bonds, currently the most expensive class in the entire game. So with that all said, I'd be very much remiss to call this anything other than a straight up S tier class. Expensive, but a fantastic way to just tank everything that you're fighting. Now, I know I'm gonna make a lot of people mad with this because, well, I really don't like the Arsonist class. Don't get me wrong, it is a really cool concept, but I can't really get behind it that much. Basically, you get double fire damage and a pretty decent little amount of Molotovs to start out with. And while it is pretty easy to kind of group up some zombies if you got a horse or something and just burn them all, my main issue with this class is just how hyper specific it is. Maybe it's just a skill issue on my part, I don't know. I can't justify a class that's only purpose is fire damage. Meanwhile, Molotovs are $35 a piece. Like, why are they so expensive? Sure, I know they can be found randomly and you get loads of them inside of the castle, but I don't care. It's too much money for too specific of a use case, but just to keep everybody from ripping me in half, I'm gonna go with B tier. It's the most I can give. The Doctor class is really easy to get just from the name alone. You spawn with 2 of each healing type item. You can heal teammates without bandages at the cost of half your HP, and it is one of the best solo classes easily, and is a fantastic option to have at least one of on your team. Plus, it is a super low price tag of just 15 bonds. Easy S tier all day, any day, every day. Now, I'm really confused by this next class, the Vampire. You take damage in the sunlight, you get a movement speed boost, melee damage is increased. Wait, what? You take damage in the sunlight. Dude, how do you even play this game then? Actually, weirdly enough, pretty easily. So yes, you do take damage in the sunlight, but it's very minimal, and even little bits of shade like being inside of your train are good enough to be able to stop you from dying. Not to mention that you spawn with a freaking vampire knife, which no, you cannot sell unfortunately, but the vampire knife by itself is a really great weapon, allowing you to be able to heal by doing damage. So even during the day, so long as you main the vampire knife, you can easily out heal, outrun, and out DPS your enemies while in the freaking sunlight, and you're actively perpetually taking damage. Honestly, it's just such a unique playstyle and something that I couldn't have envisioned myself ever using. It is a little pricey at 75 bonds. It is actually pretty easy to use, and as long as you're willing to take the risks posed by playing a class like this, it's not that hard to get behind. Against what I otherwise thought I was going to be rating this class, I'm going to have to go with a solid S tier. The Conductor is an interesting class. It gives you the ability to go about 20 miles per hour faster than the normal speed of the train, though at the cost of half of your normal HP. Plus, you do not spawn with a melee weapon. Oh, yeah. I think that this is a pretty good class. However, for 50 bonds, and it's not that great in single player unless you have a pistol game pass or something. I think it's just kind of limited in general to mostly multiplayer use for the average player. It does have a really cool upside though, of course, of the higher train speed, though at the price it is, the downsides, it's honestly a little bit just expensive, and the bang for your buck just really is not so much there. I think I'm gonna have to go with about a B tier. I think it's a solid place to put it. Cool concept overall though. Before we get into one of the best and one of the cheapest classes, make sure to get subscribed. That would be awesome. I've got tons more Dead Rails content coming out multiple times a week, though while you're subscribing, I do have one more thing. Now, the miner class is pretty solid overall. It's simple, it's cheap, only costing 15 bonds. You get a lot of bang for your buck here, starting with a mining helmet, letting you see much more clearly in the dark with a super bright light, though it doesn't go super far. Plus, you spawn with coal, freeing up some of your starting money for other items like barbed wire or some more healing items. This class is just about perfect. Otherwise, it is an actual A tier class through and through, though it does make me wonder if the mining helmet is elsewhere in the game now, or if it's just limited to this class. I have no idea. It'd be cool though. Priest has been in the game for a hot minute now, and I think it's already cemented itself as a pretty good class overall, giving you 4 decent weapons with 2 holy water and 2 crucifixes. The holy water can be sold for 30 a piece, but honestly, it might be worth keeping. You also get the buff of being immune to lightning, so you are completely safe during lightning storms at night. The price of the class actually matches that of the Ironclad at 100 bonds, so definitely still pretty pricey. While it is still a little bit niche, I think that it's at least an A tier with that ability to not get struck by lightning. However, can the same be said about our next class, the Cowboy? Yes, it can. Really simple to grasp what this class is just by the name alone. You get a revolver, you get a rideable horse, and it's just 35 bonds. Anything else need to be said? Nope. S tier. Yellow is currently my favorite class in Dead Rails. I've mentioned it quite a few times in some of my videos, and for good reason. You spawn with 3 barbed wire and 3 metal sheets, plus a helmet for some decent armor to start with. Honestly, you can armor your train with just this stuff here and be good for literally the rest of the game, to just focus on spending your money on other stuff. It's a super goated class, balanced, and a great price of just 50 bonds. I think it's more than worthy of S tier, just for the train armor by itself. And lastly, the zombie class, one of the new classes that we just got, and honestly, another one with a super unique set of abilities. Not only do you get a very moldy hat, but you also get the ability to eat dead bodies of any kind. I really want to see if you can eat the final boss, but that'll be for another day. A sentence that I never thought I'd ever say in my life. However, you now do lack the ability to use any other normal healing items, and frankly, bodies don't heal you for that much anyway, though they are really plentiful, so it basically lets you heal as you go, rather than having to step back and heal for a second with either bandages or snake oil. It's just such a weird class to me. It's really easy to understand. It's 75 bonds though. It is insane. Overall, given everything about this class, I'm gonna have to go with at least a B tier on this one. And of course, the normal class. Definitely S tier. All right. In general, I am super pleased with not only the amount of classes that we have, but the actually really nice variety and price points that we have. Also, let me know your favorite class in the game and why, or you could just scream at all my choices. You know, that'd be cool too. Either way, thank you so much for watching. A very special thank you to the channel members. You guys are absolutely the backbone of this channel, and I cannot thank you enough. You can become a channel member too to help support the channel with the join button below or with the link in the description below. Of course, another special thanks to all of the new subscribers that we've been getting lately. You guys have been absolutely incredible, and I cannot thank you enough. By the way, if you haven't yet, definitely get subscribed. And if you want, give me any other video ideas that you want in the comment section below. That would be awesome. But with all that said, I hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, dudes.